Hello and welcome to Funny Science Fiction, the live edition. Welcome to Funny Science Fiction, the live edition, the only show that Mick Manhattan from the Scene Snobs goes to confess publicly his love for Sting in the movie Dune, but really only for that weird, creepy underwear scene. Thanks, Mick. We appreciate that.
Poor Mick.
Mick's gonna kill me. I love you, Mick.
And this is how we get kicked out of the Scene Snobs Network.
No, if that did, no, I don't think that's what's gonna do it. But hey, before we get started and jump into the rest of our show, and remind you guys, if you're going to comment on Facebook, please allow StreamYard to have access to your Facebook information so that the Big Brother alien computers can make sure to get all your information properly. But it also allows us to know who we're talking to. So not just good old Facebook user.
And before we get into tonight's show, we need to say a thanks to our show partners, River City Tees and Level Up Lightsabers.
And let's watch a quick video for each.
With over 700 designs to choose from, River City Tees has something for everyone. Need some new nerd merch? River City Tees has you covered. Need funny or sarcastic designs? River City Tees has you covered. Are you looking for a new logo or custom design? Whether you need 1 or 100, River City Tees has you covered. With multiple colors and options for each and every design. With things to choose from like shirts, hoodies, phone cases, coffee mugs, and so much more. Be sure to follow River City Tees on Facebook and Instagram. If you do, you'll get the latest on designs and information about upcoming sales. River City Tees. Let's make a shirt together. I just want to remind everybody that if you were chair dancing during that video when nobody could see you, it's totally cool. I was doing it. All right. And
that
now,
is one.
Yep.
Video number 2, that will cause the word lightsaber to be screamed from my living room by probably my husband and then my toddler.
From your mini-me.
Lightsabers.
Here it goes.
I've got mine.
Nick.
Shut up, Nick. Nobody likes you.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right.
And if you were wondering who that bearded man was in the video, you'll find out in just a moment.
Yahoo! Sorry, I'm excited. All right. So let's welcome to our show, Jeff Dwoskin of Live from Detroit, the Jeff Dwoskin Show.
Hello, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey. Oh, I'm sorry. I saw the logo. I didn't see me.
We snuck you in down in the bottom corner.
I was captivated by the logo. Thank you.
It's a beautiful logo.
It is. It's Tina Marie made that for me. So.
It's fetching.
It is fetching. I was distracted. I was buying
Stop
a T-shirt.
saying fetch.
It makes me want to watch Cheers.
Fetch makes you want to watch Cheers? Then
no, the logo makes me want to watch Cheers.
Oh, okay.
I promise. It makes more sense inside of my head. Oh, boy. All right. Let's also welcome to the show Ron Lippitt of Crossing the Streams, a division of JeffIsFunny.com.
And where's Ron? There he is.
Am I here? Hey,
there he is.
What up, you sexy players?
You know, the whole thing of, let's use more graphics is a great concept until I can't find the graphic or the person. And so
you need to have one of the younger co-hosts do the technology thing.
Hey, I like how you're using a screenshot or something too, or like.
Yeah, I am. Nobody asked you, Jeff.
Right. And before I get myself in more trouble, last but not least, our show partner, Alan White of Level Up Lightsabers.
The bearded man from the video. Hello, Alan.
What's up, everybody? I barely got here in time. I was just finishing a class, and fortunately, I got everything set up with about a minute and a half to spare. I was very proud of myself.
You did fine. We have time to do our intros and everything before it becomes an issue, but so plenty of time.
Duel.
You will lose, Nick, and I would pay to watch it.
I mean, I've got the saber spear with me, and I really want to know what that's going to be like in like an active situation. So we could make that happen. That'd be fun.
Did you say saber spear?
Oh yeah. Hold on one second.
Okay.
You have my attention.
I have a makeup brush. Sorry.
I have a pen like an adult.
Right?
The challenging part is about 8 feet long.
Freaking
So
awesome.
it's hard to get in frame, but
Giggity.
Excuse
Giggity.
me.
very nearly everything you need to make this is available on the site right now, and the stuff that is not available yet, we're working on it. It's sometime this year. It's going to all be there.
There you go. All right. So we've got a few comments coming in. John Wass says, hi, everyone. Happy Monday. We was going through these. Natasha Consul says, hi, everyone. Jason Taylor says he wants to get one for himself. Well, Jason, you're in luck. I'm posting in the comments. You'll find a link for Level Up Lightsabers. And
There we are.
Mm.
that didn't go right. Something's missing. I clicked the wrong one. Shut up, Kathleen. Nobody asked you.
I didn't
Let's-
say it. I just
let's try this
really
one.
loud.
I feel like there needs to be like an Oprah voiceover. Guests of the funny science fiction show get a Level Up
And-
Lifesaver.
If they pay for it themselves.
And you
Before.
get a link. And you get a link. And you get a link. But yeah, and Natasha did say that your logo reminds her of The Price is Right.
I could see that a little bit. Come on,
A little bit. I
down.
can see that.
It does have that like vintage TV vibe, which I like.
I always
Yeah,
forget
absolutely.
to come up.
All right, and this she also says yes, the saber spear. So, all right, and Jason, don't start with me. It's too early in the week. All
At
these
least
talented
he
people and
understands you.
Tim, you pick on his Jean-Claude Van Damme affection one time.
And you
Okay.
become the butt monkey of all of the jokes.
Okay, multiple times actually.
And all it took was once, but you decided that you found that button and you were going to continue not just poking it,
Oh,
but jumping on it.
Yeah, I did jumping jacks on that button. It was fun. He's a good sport though. He lived through it. All right, so for tonight's festivities, now that we have everybody here and we're all ready to go, we have an opportunity to be a low rent version of Crossing the Streams, and we're taking it. Anyway,
Strong.
the low rent version of Crossing the Streams. By the way, Crossing the Streams can be found on YouTube every Wednesday night.
9:30 Eastern.
What's that?
9:30 Eastern.
That's right, 9:30 Eastern. All right, so tonight we want to talk about sci-fi and superhero movies and all that fun stuff and how music and music soundtracks affect our movie watching. So how did, so we're talking about movies that we watched, but the soundtracks really kind of drug us in and which ones we liked and why we liked it. So we have all these guys here. And Johnson, what if there was a Dune remake starring Jean-Claude Van Damme? Would that be awesomely horrific?
I
Or
am so sorry for my life choices, guys. I am so sorry.
Didn't they just remake Dune already?
I'm super opposed. I'm super opposed.
anything Dune related is already a no. And low rent trip.
Well, you get what you pay for, Alan.
Anyway.
So yeah,
Anyway.
Natasha's excited to hear our thoughts. So Ron, we're going to give you the honor of going first out the chute.
What?
Yeah, well, we got to break in the new guys. So,
Honor, you're the
but you get to tell us what movie you picked, why you like the soundtrack, and how you feel it affected the soundtrack.
All right, so let's just start off and get something right out of the gate, and that is, and Jeff knows this well from Crossing the Streams. I am not a Marvel Cinematic Universe guy. Never have been. I don't frankly like any of the any of the superhero movies. I just never have. Never been into it. Never been into special effects, CGI. Go ahead, kick me off this channel right now. I'm here speaking for the old folks on here, and I am the oldest person on this podcast, so I get to be able to say that. But I will say this: when I was, I believe, 14 years old, and we can backtrack to that makes me how old? You'll figure it out. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and John Williams, who just came off of an Academy Award from Star Wars in 1977, came out in 1978. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and put together a score that, in my mind, culminated with the 5 notes that we all know. So wait, no, 5 notes, right? And I got to tell you, those 5 notes have continued to haunt me my entire life. I've always been fascinated by the idea of aliens and science fiction, and the idea of being visited, and the idea of human contact, all of the evidence, Area 51, all that great stuff. Super excited me, even when I was a kid. So Close Encounters of the Third Kind, creating that amazing score with John Williams and those 5 notes, it is something that has really been personally very meaningful. Plus, I love the movie. I think Steven Spielberg is a genius. And so to me, the combination of all those geniuses working together and having that cinematic score with those 5 notes, to me, is the most powerful musical influence I've had in a movie, and still to this day is. So go ahead, rip me apart. Start now. Jeff?
Well, one, I wouldn't rip you apart because I need you Wednesday at 9:30 p.m.
Self-serving answer. Gotta love it.
This is the first time Ron and I have appeared together outside of Crossing the Stream. So this is sort of a collector's edition episode of Funny Science Fiction. So congratulations to you guys on that.
They're like Pokemon, collect them all.
I will say that I had the opportunity on Live from Detroit to interview Joe Alves, who was the visionary behind Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and he worked with Steven Spielberg on that. I think it's a combination of the music and those visuals that you can picture all together that I think creates that magic that you're referring to, which I agree with 100%. It's
all right. We got a few comments about your pick, Ron. Jason Taylor says that's a great one. He may have to rewatch it after this. Natasha says, I can close my eyes and just listen to the score soundtrack and know which movie it's from. Close Encounters is where it started for her. So that's awesome. And Jason also says, as much as I love Star Wars, my favorite is definitely 2001. Also, I love the Planet of the Apes score.
So John Williams did, he was up for another Academy Award for that score for Close Encounters right after the Star Wars win. And he didn't win. He got nominated. He didn't win for the Academy Award for Best Soundtrack, but he did win 2 Grammy Awards for that soundtrack as well. So, I mean, that was a great part, I think, of John. John Williams has such a storied career for how many decades now? But I think those 2 years in a row are probably the height of his career, I have to think.
Drayton's playing in his mashed potatoes right now.
Somebody had to reference it. That's like one of the most memorable scenes in that movie.
It is. I prop up pillows like that. I do my toothpaste like that. I seriously, I've been doing this for however many years, 30 years, I think it is. Yeah, it's crazy.
All right, good, because I did not get the reference, and I'm like, okay, Drayton, what are you trying to tell me? But never mind. There's a reference there that I was not paying attention to, so that's even better.
Nicely done, Drayton.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in probably since I was a teenager. So remembering specific references from that would be difficult. So, but
even for the 1970s, I thought they didn't have CGI, but I thought the special effects were excellent. And then if you even see the extended version, what do they call it, Jeff? The special edition of that, it's still pretty good for 1970s technology. It's believable. The only thing that's not believable, I thought, was the little kids at the end who posed as aliens. But we'll look past that.
Rob says, stopping by the show, show some love. Have a great podcast. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Rob.
George says, hold the phone. E.T. gets no love. Well,
no.
we'll have to wait.
One person so far.
Worst movie ever. He creeps me out.
I mean, right? It's just a movie about an alien trying to make a collect call. It's
Jason
my husband
says
and I
mashed
have
potatoes
actually from the house. Like, it's not allowed. Sorry.
That's okay. And Jason
Agreed,
believes it's
Jason.
overrated.
I agree, Jason.
I tend to think it's overrated as well. All right, so cool. Your pick, Ron, seems to have gone over very well. I think
Awesome.
that's a good pick, and it's definitely a movie. I agree with Jason. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it because it's a movie that I had honestly kind of forgotten about. So, all right. Next, we have our friendly neighborhood Master Alan.
All right, I was super torn on mine, and I narrowed it down to 2, and I can already tell that I'm probably going to be in a minority because a lot of people sort of picked soundtracks that were non-lyrical. But I was torn between Watchmen and Enter the Spider-Verse. And so, like, in Watchmen, the soundtrack is just packed full of, like, interesting ways that they use the soundtrack to keep the time of the movie, and also in certain cases, like, using the music, ironically, like, the music will have sort of one message, and the action that you're seeing is exactly the opposite. And with certain things, like the death of the comedian, like, it makes it that much more horrifying.
Whoa,
But,
spoiler.
At this point, if you haven't seen Watchmen, like, you missed your chance to not be spoiled. But recently on TikTok, there's something that's sort of gone around, which was somebody put out the challenge of what is the best 5 seconds in cinema. And Straw Hat Goofy, who does a lot of really amazing movie and pop culture, like,
Great
recaps
content
and reactions and analysis and stuff like that, like, his very first one was a scene from Enter the Spider-Verse where Miles Morales goes up to a building and jumps off, and the camera inverts. So instead of falling, it looks almost like he's floating in water. It looks like he's flying. And that is when the phrase, "What's up, danger?" hits. I have no words. Like, that scene is so fantastic. And then the soundtrack in general is just packed full of gems, and the way that they are used within the movie. I don't think we're going to get a single wrong answer to this amongst all of us, because we are all very dedicated nerds and passionate in our own way. But, like, Spider-Verse is just packed with stuff that I love to work out to, that I love to drive to, that my kids get hyped up about requesting. Like, and that single moment, like, "What's up, danger?" where Miles Morales sort of comes into his, I'm Spider-Man. Like, it's the song tells you that he put it together, that he figured it out, that it switched, and now he's a hero instead of this scared kid. Like, that, it was just such a cool moment, and that is forever going to be one of my favorite songs entirely because of that moment.
So that was actually going to be my second pick.
Oh, really?
Was Into the Spider-Verse.
Uh-huh.
Because before that movie, I didn't have a whole lot of use for Post Malone. And the song Sunflower.
Mhm.
Oh, dude, I love that song.
Great.
It's freaking amazing. And the more it was one of those things that the more I started listening to the movie and watching the movie, the more I started liking that song. And then, that I started going out to the rest of the soundtrack. But that was not my pick. But it was a very good one. That was my number 2. And I think my favorite comment that I've seen so far tonight was the person who agrees the most with Ron. Ron agrees with Ron.
I'm serious. That guy he's spot on. So I appreciated it.
Well, yeah, he's
See, I haven't allowed StreamYard to have access to my Facebook, so I can comment as Facebook user during our shows. It's actually kind of fun.
And Jason says, "Holy crap, Jeff, you're right. It is a special edition. Tim and I agreed. I need to rethink my life." You're welcome, Jason. There's too many comments coming in. I can't hardly even keep up. I love this. Keep the comments coming. Oh, Tim and I agree about Post Malone. Today is a wonderful day. Oh, Jason. And Jason also says that Ron is right about Ron.
Appreciate you, Jason.
So no, and I think that's a really good pick there for Into the Spider-Verse. That's one of those movies where I think music is so intrinsically tied to everything that happens in that movie. The song is selected specifically to set up a scene and move it forward, and so I think that's really cool.
And their inflection points, like, they're always like, it's where something really important is happening with the emotions of the character or characters or whatever. Like, yeah,
absolutely.
Nice coffee cup.
Yeah, thank you. Available at rivercitytees.com. Anyway,
I was gonna say you didn't win yours, though.
there
You-
you go,
I
Jeff.
should've. Still at home.
I won this.
You did.
I won mine too.
Mine's up there.
I answered all the questions. All the questions.
Ron, we'll make sure you get one. So the next time you come on the show, you too can shamelessly help us plug River City Tees Red Shirt Widows and Orphans coffee mugs.
I do agree that it was great that in Watchmen they put in good songs so that there was something good about that movie.
So, I mean, as somebody that was a fan of the graphic novel, I was so glad that they booked the space squid. Like, that was a detail of the story that I was always like, and I thought the shift to Doc Manhattan was a positive choice in making the adaptation. Although Watchmen is not something that I have ever felt the need to like watch over and over and over again.
The HBO continuation of Watchmen, I think, is actually better than the movie. They reference it just enough. Gene Smart plays one of the one character. That's amazing. Jason, nobody likes the Watchmen movie. You can appreciate the visual that Zack Snyder brings to it, I think. But it's like, but I agree, he just didn't change enough. The squid was a good start, but when people try and adapt something so 100%, that's why, like, I always say, like, in the house where I'm always like, the first two Harry Potter movies I think suck. It's like on the third one when they started to move into like making, all right, these are movies and they're going to be our own thing. And then they started to get great, and each one of them got better than the next. The first two were so worried about the fans. Same thing, I think, with Watchmen. Can't be that literal. Anyway,
George would also like to remind us that E.T. won an Oscar for the score. George
I'd
is
love it if one of you picked E.T. and
George is hanging on to
it.
E.T. like just deathlock. I got E.T. Love you, George.
E.T. at the time was one of the greatest movies of all time. Maybe in hindsight, you're not loving it as
deny
much.
that the music of E.T. is great. The movie itself is terrifying. Like, I hate that movie so much. But I also have a very specific, like, childhood memory of my cousins watching it on their, like, the giant 80s flat screen scary TVs, the ones that weigh, like, 600 pounds. Like, those massive, gigantic things that when you're at the side of the TV, you can't... Ugh.
I was sitting here waiting for
the ET. Yeah, no, bad idea. Sorry.
I was waiting for a Laserdisc reference. I'm like, all right, Laserdisc, here we come. That's how
I
I thought.
thought she was going with one of the projection TVs that had the 3 giant lights that shot onto your screen. Remember those?
Yeah.
The scene in E.T. where they're in the closet with the stuffed animals is one of the greatest things. And then the little Star Wars toys. So that Star Wars is in that world. I think that's one of the first times they
they crossed it. Yeah.
I love E.T.
watch
I love
it.
E.T. I can't just sit here and let it go completely besmirched on my watch. But
So Natasha wants to ask Kathleen if she's ever watched Stranger Things.
I have watched most of it. I don't know. So Stranger Things came out, and then I had a kid, and then I've not been able to watch TV that doesn't involve cartoons or tiny people.
Something called Blippi. I hear she watches a lot.
Anybody who knows what Blippi is, I'm so sorry.
If you didn't have
Blippi.
If you didn't have time to watch Stranger Things season 3, just trying to remember season 1 because it's just them redoing season 1.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
with good music. What?
All right, let's move on to our next pick.
Okay.
Our next person, our guest, Jeff Dwoskin. What's your pick?
Well, my pick is E.T. and damn you all.
we'd apologize, but you knew what you're getting yourself into. So.
The scene where they're trying to kill the alien, just because they're scared, and the music, and then no, I didn't pick E.T. I picked what I think is the only real choice for any of these, which is Batman '89, the original Batman by Tim Burton. As you can see here. So Batman, as you can see in this odd screenshot that Tim doesn't know how to transfer images, but
Hold on, where's that remove button?
Shots fired.
Man.
This Batman
Batman '89 is absolutely a top 50 superhero movie. So,
well, it's top 50. None of the ones that every superhero movie that we enjoy is because of the groundbreaking of Batman '89. So
every superhero movie that we enjoy is because of Blade making money.
that's maybe if that was true, they'd probably be rushing the reboot. Anyway, but the
Ron guy again.
That's a Batman reference. Is anybody with me on that one?
Tim Burton's Batman is the reason we all wear shirts now with stuff. It's the only reason Tim's shirt business isn't in business. I mean, it's why we all wear anything like that. It was like it reinvented everything that we know about superhero movies. But the thanks for putting up the spoiler. I mean, but like, please let me get to it, Tim. This is a combination of two amazing things.
Well, I didn't have to crop this; I could just put it up. So.
This movie has two amazing things. It has an entire album written by Prince that goes great with, is really quirky. I'm not saying it's his best work, but for the movie for how it pairs with the movie, I think it fits a Tim Burton movie. And then this also is Danny Elfman, who went on to do many, many things, but this was his like first big thing that he did. And so I think it's the combination of both those, I think, set this movie aside, or at least give this movie a special trophy for, adding multiple layers of amazing music to the movie and the pop culture world.
I do like that about the about some like the 80s movies is the taking the bigger stars of that era and having them do the soundtrack for that. That is cool. I also really like that.
This guy named Michael Kimball, I don't know who this is, but he apparently doesn't like Dune either.
Oh, I know. You know what? I just said Michael Kimball.
So much positivity today.
Michael Kimball edits my podcast for free. If you need someone to edit a podcast for free, just reach out to Michael Kimball. He does a great job.
Be super excited about all the context he gets after this.
He looks like he'd be good at editing podcasts.
Yeah, why wouldn't you want to?
While he watches Dune.
I did learn that the Prince was supposed to be done with Michael Jackson. The album was supposed to be a duet, and then I also did learn that the reason the movies or the songs don't show up on his albums is because the rights to all the Batman stuff. It wasn't until later that he got to do Bat Dance on one of the albums, but that's why, because it was all copyright issues.
So Jeff, I just have to ask, with you having interviewed Burt Ward, I just have to know, with you having Batman as your pick, did it bother you originally that there was no reference to Robin, no involvement or acknowledgments to his Ward?
This group also interviewed Burt Ward, but the early Batmans, I don't think Robin was around yet. Like, there was a certain point where I think Robin comes up. Robin was actually supposed to be in Batman Returns. It was one of the Waynes' brothers was actually Batman or Robin, and he got cut from the movie, but they were actually bringing it in. They were bringing him in.
Mick Manhattan says, "Screw that Kimball guy."
Right.
Yeah, the pictures are very similar.
Very similar, almost twin-like. Yeah, when we interviewed Burt Ward, we talked about how the fact that you mentioned earlier that it was Burton's Batman that got made merch kind of a thing, which right. I completely and wholeheartedly agree with, because there was merch lines and toy lines and things before, but not to the degree that after Batman of '89 that blew up, and they put Batman on anything that they could possibly put that vinyl, that ink, that whatever on, the paint on. If it could say Batman, it was going to say it. And I think that was the first movie that really crossed that threshold line. But I think, you guys are referencing earlier
Star Wars. Wait a minute.
Star Wars had a lot of merch and a lot of toys.
Lucas did not say no to anybody that offered a check for IP.
But not, you're right, but it didn't get like that until the prequels. He did it for some during Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back, but not to the extent that Batman did. I don't think so anyway. That's just my opinion.
It'd be an interesting thing to do a pop culture deep dive on. Somebody could research total number of product SKUs.
Nick, you've been assigned a challenge. Nick just gets a look on his face like, oh, crap.
I agree, though, with Tim that if anything could have Batman on it, it was going to have Batman on it. And if my sister had had her way, my birth certificate would have had Batman on it. So I can understand this.
But when we talked to Burt Ward, one of the things that we talked about was, the relevance of the Batman series in 1960. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have superhero movies of any kind right now. Because they opened doors that allowed the Batman of 1989 to be a thing. So that's again.
That also means we can blame them for bat nipples.
Good point.
Ron liked the part where Michael Keaton looked at pensive and brooding, so the entire movie.
A lot of Michael Keaton in general.
Michael Keaton was amazing. He's one of the best Batman.
He actually was. All jokes aside,
I
actually
well.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think he did really well.
Better than Affleck. Sorry.
Right.
Sorry, that was.
You guys are talking a lot about Batman. The three geeks had him on yesterday.
The actual guy?
Which one?
No, they had a guy who'd look like Mick Manhattan and that other guy, Michael Kimball, but with a bat mask and a beard. But,
Well,
he's Batman's coming out of quarantine, so,
Kudos to them.
Thanks to all of us.
So, no, I think that was a good pick right there for those. And before we go into the funny science fiction cruise picks, I want to remind everybody of a couple quick things. And Jeff will have an opportunity here to make comment about my inability to crop things. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. So thanks, Jeff. So right now on eBay, we've had the opportunity to interview a couple of really cool voice actors. We've had David Sobolov, who's the voice actor for Gorilla Grodd from The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow. And also he's the voice of Drax on Guardians of the Galaxy, the animated series, and a bunch of other things. But we do a lot of work with a charity here in Michigan called Wish Upon a Teen. And he gave us this signed picture. It's up for charity auction. The opening bid is $50. That bid has been met. So there's not too much longer. I think a day or two left on that. But 100% of the profits of that signed picture will go to Wish Upon a Teen. And Nancy Sovereign, the director of Wish Upon a Teen, is very excited and thankful for thanking everyone in advance for their bids. So, and I'll put a link in the chat for you guys to be able to find that auction and be able to make your bid on that. But at the same time, we also had another gentleman on the show recently whose episode will be coming out in a couple weeks. And I was very excited about this because I watched this cartoon religiously as a kid. We had Larry Kenney, the voice of Lion-O from Thundercats, on. And that is also up for auction. And so that's a thing. But yeah, so you guys will also have an opportunity to bid on this. And again, 100% of the profits go to the charity Wish Upon a Teen, a great organization who's helped out my family personally after my daughter's lengthy hospital stay. That's what they do. They help out sick kids in hospitals when they need it most. So
it's such a cool program. Like it is.
Yeah, it is
such an amazing program.
Yeah, they are great people to work with. They've been fantastic to just to kind of be around and get to know. And Nancy's been on our show, and she's been on my other show, focused on Forward, to talk about and kind of prop up Wish Upon a Teen. So that's been kind of fun. So yeah, and just as a quick teaser,
Sword of Omens, come to my hand. I, Lion-O, command it. Hi, this is Larry Kenney, the voice of Lion-O, welcoming you to the Funny Science Fiction Podcast, Thundercats. Ho!
Now, had that video kept playing, you would have heard this.
I, as Tim's loving co-host, it is now a goal to get him to laugh so hard he falls out of his chair.
We got close.
Oh my gosh, he was going out of his chair after Larry Kenny did that. Like it was. You hit him right in the nostalgic 10-year-old boy. It was awesome.
That was a good day. So
those are cool auction items.
Yeah, and so we're hoping that people will take a chance and bid on those things. Even if it's not something that you can bid on, if you can just share. And I'm going to share a link also to wishuponateen.org. You can donate directly to them. Even as little as $1 a person, it adds up so quick, and it's going to go to a good cause, and it's going to help out some sick kids when they need it. They redecorate the rooms, make it feel more like home, and if at all possible. So, please pay attention to that. But we'll get moving back into our regularly scheduled programming here. And while Nick is talking away about his choice and how much he loved his movie, I'll put in those links for the eBay auction.
So I chose a movie from 2002 called Treasure Planet.
Once again, not clipped. You're welcome, Jeff.
I really love how Disney took this and made it kind of like they kind of followed the same pattern of the story, but they just made it into their own sci-fi realm. And I just love the idea of sailing ships in space. And it was scored by James Newton Howard. He also did like The Fugitive, Space Jam, King Kong, The Dark Knight, I Am Legend. He did quite a bit with M. Night Shyamalan as well. And I like the score just brings the sense of adventure and everything to you. And the other song that wasn't done by James Newton that was also in the song was by the Goo Goo Dolls, John Resnick. And he did the song I'm Still Here, or it was known as Jim's theme, because he just felt like he really connected with the rebel inside of Jim. And it was just a really good choice of music. And it's like, I'll listen, like watch that movie and just like, yes, like I'm excited to, like the music just gets you excited to want to watch the movie.
All right. We've got a few comments in here, got buried by my spamming of the
link spam.
The link spam. So we heard that's a hidden gem. Tend to agree.
It is an underrated.
Oh, I love Titan AE as well. That's another one of my favorite animated ones.
And Was has been quiet for most of this night, which is kind of interesting for him. But anyway, he says that Treasure Planet is he chasing the mini you?
He's got the mini me and his mom recovering from hip replacement, so he's busy tonight.
Fine, whatever.
I know.
Maybe we suggest he pop on Treasure Planet.
We have Disney Plus. I'm pretty sure it's on there.
Wabbit of Seville.
Yeah, the mini me who has screamed about absolutely everything today.
I like this Ron guy. He comments all the time.
Super engaged. Doing good.
Yeah, these are the type of watchers that I want. People who are this engaged and commenting this often.
Where is that guy? We should find him somewhere.
I don't know, but he should. Yeah, we
guest appearance or something.
We should get on for a guest appearance. Absolutely, have him be part of the show.
Ooh.
All right, so cool. All right, my kids watched that movie with quite an amount of regularity. I don't recall half of it though. But yeah, I might be watching that soon. Is that on Disney Plus?
I think so.
Okay.
It's been a big piece of that, like coming back into like social media pop culture reference too, is because now it's like people will be surfing through Disney Plus trying to find something to watch, and they're just like, oh yeah, Treasure Planet, I forgot about this one, and then they realize like, wow, this was really good.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the things I love about Disney Plus is being able to go back in and find some of the older movies, especially some of the ones that maybe you've forgotten about. Mm-hmm. It's worth the money if you're
I've
not
had a lot
subscribing.
of fun introducing my daughter to like the classic Disney that my grandparents had on VHS.
Right.
You mean like the real racist ones?
Pretty much, yeah.
Song
No,
of the
I mean,
South
like,
is not on Disney Plus.
Today she watched Alice in Wonderland for the first time, and I'm pretty sure she didn't blink for like 5 minutes straight.
That's good. That's good.
So did she take the pill that made her smaller, or
Is that
No.
is that the movie that sound you like the best?
No,
Hmm.
it is not.
All right. So Natasha says Disney Plus shows all Disney. Yeah, all the Disney Plus shows. Yeah, with the Disney Pixar, all those have been pretty good for musical choices as well. All right, Kathleen.
So
Well,
that was hard.
it was hard, and she had anxiety in her choice.
And it's gotten worse. I've actually made more notes while you guys have been talking with the, oh wait, but I liked that soundtrack and I liked that. So the pick I told Tim was the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
It was on my short list too.
It's a really, really good soundtrack. And as we've been going through here tonight, my brain's been doing that. It just doesn't stop.
Actually, I listened to that nonstop. That album.
Yeah,
Really good
I went out.
soundtrack.
That's a
Yeah, I
great
went out.
soundtrack.
It's an amazing soundtrack. I went out and bought both of Volume 1 and 2 on vinyl because I wanted to be able to listen to it while I was sitting at home at my desk on my record player.
Because I like to say the word vinyl.
I'm a vinyl collector.
He's trying to be a hipster.
I got a vinyl too. Tim and I collect vinyl. We should do a vinyl edition of this.
Ooh,
I'm
I would
down.
watch that.
So, anyway,
I love that suggestion. I got that album free on Google Music. They gave it away like years ago. Google Music doesn't even exist anymore. But they, I was 42.
I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy is a great selection. I think that's everybody's number one selection for soundtrack. I thought it was too obvious, actually. That's why I didn't put it up there.
See,
But
that was the thing is that
yeah, you're right on.
John was. You can get that on YouTube.
yeah, you can watch it on YouTube. You don't have
You
to.
said he
You
was
don't
too
have to
quiet, John.
sully Disney Plus with it.
They made it. They made a new Star Wars Holiday.
Yeah, they did
I
the Lego version.
Yeah, to confuse stuff.
Yeah, they did.
Kathleen,
the Lego version.
my daughter's got me listening to exclusively the soundtrack to Umbrella Academy, which I know is not a movie, but that for a musical
also
soundtrack,
solid soundtrack.
It's a solid
Fantastic.
soundtrack.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm dying to find out what Tim's is. I
My
bet it's-
anxiety, though, came
I'm
from
the host, I don't have to
didn't know
pick.
if I wanted to go with Guardians of the
Okay.
Galaxy or Highlander.
Ooh.
No, but you can only choose one.
Theoretically, but then I can
I
also
see what
make
you did
notes
there.
on all of the other ones that I've been sitting over here with the, oh, but I should have done Deadpool or Deadpool 2 or
Also good.
Yeah, Deadpool's soundtracks are pretty good too.
I love.
Just because certain songs on the Deadpool soundtrack make me laugh now just hearing them because
Yes.
I envision Deadpool in the movie. Yeah. So
You guys are better than me. I can't remember music from anything.
yeah.
Batman '89 was literally the only one I could do.
honestly, like, of the Deadpool soundtrack, I mean, obviously the music is great, but the music video for Ashes from Deadpool 2 is spectacular. The Celine Dion one, amazing.
Mhm.
I don't know how anybody can dance in heels that high. That's all I'm saying.
I hear you.
All right. Well, we have to kick Jeff out here in just a minute because he has a previous engagement. But Jeff, before we kick you out, why don't you quick plug your show? Tell us who you have coming up and where people can find the Jeff Dwoskin Show.
More show is there? I gotta leave by 8:00. But thank you for having me. I loved being here. It was fabulous. I loved all the suggestions.
It was fabulous.
That's literally how I'm ending things now.
Yeah, you can check out my podcast, Live from Detroit, the Jeff Dwoskin Show. It's on all your podcast platforms. My current episode is with Catherine Mary Stewart. She was in The Last Starfighter and Weekend at Bernie's and Night of the Comet. She was really cool. And Ron and I do Crossing the Streams every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's a great show too. If you need movie or TV streaming suggestions, that lives on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, you can search the Jeff Dwoskin Show. We have the 31 episodes up there. That's where that lives. And thank you guys for having me. Super fun.
Yeah. No, we're glad. I was glad you could make it, even if you couldn't stay for the whole show. It's just, it's always fun to have you on. But since you wanted to know what my pick was, I'll let you know what that is before I kick you out, and then we'll give you the boot. Give you one more opportunity to crack wise about my inability to crop pictures. Because I was doing, anyway, I could make a bunch of excuses why I didn't do it, but I didn't. So anyway, here it is. Flash Gordon.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh, that is a
Flash.
good one.
Because that
That's
entire
strong.
soundtrack is done by Queen.
Yes, that is solid.
That, and the great thing is that in that movie, this is again another movie where the music and even some of the music is used to be like a background sound effect to set up the scene and to set up what's going on. And when Flash is coming in, all dressed up and ready to fight, and he's on that little air scooter thing with the winged people, who I can't remember all of a sudden, Eagle folks.
Yeah,
he's coming in, and you've got the
yeah. It's so good. It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
That space opera with an operatic singer and an operatic composition with electric instruments. Yeah. I don't know that there's ever been a better
that movie, the soundtrack for that gives me the chills every time I watch that movie.
Yeah.
The soundtrack at certain points of that movie, it's been one of the few movies in my life, and I'm anybody who knows me really well knows that I love music. There's a soundtrack always playing in my head somewhere, somehow. I wake up singing almost a new song almost every single morning. And for me, this movie, I'm watching the movie and I'm like, I can't help myself. I'm bouncing around. I'm listening to it. So
I always thought, Max von Sydow was such a big star when he did that movie. And I never understood how they got him to be in that awful movie. Right?
Ron, I love your comments there.
Kathleen, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I'm going to start throwing stuff at you. I'm just throwing things at my computer screen, but it works.
As a former resident of New England, I can say that having Tom Brady as your fantasy football quarterback wouldn't be a good idea.
Doesn't work out. I will just say one other thing about that movie. Did anyone else get wigged out by the putting your arm into the log, into the wood thing?
Oh, yeah.
That was Tevye from Fiddler on the Roof.
That's true.
Yeah.
The so interesting thing. I love. It's a great pick, Tim.
It is.
There's I think on the Amazon Fire Stick, there's an entire documentary on the making of that movie, specifically around the guy who played Flash. They overdubbed his entire voice. That's not his voice in the movie.
Not once.
Oh, that's funny.
It's a whole thing about him. And
another agreement between us, Tim. It's a July 12th miracle. And Natasha, Last Dragon, I haven't seen that in forever. I would have to go back and watch it again to remember the soundtrack, but I seem to remember there being a bunch of El DeBarge on that. There's a 80s flashback name for you.
Nice.
Gonna get to the rhythm of the night. Anyway, but yeah, so that's bad. That wasn't good. Anyway,
That's what podcasts are for.
I think this was the greatest episode of this fine
establishment. There was a time when Kathleen and I had the My Little Pony movie soundtrack on repeat in our van to keep the tiny human happy.
It's a surprisingly good soundtrack.
So, but yeah, she says she replies in lyrics. I also do. Lyrics and movie quotes. You will get a lot of replies and comments from me. So, but
and if you get him drinking enough, he'll serenade tater tots.
That has happened. Yes. You put enough Guinness and Jameson in front of me, it's going to happen. So, hey Mick, if you're still watching, do you agree? Or Michael?
That is the only redeeming factor of that movie.
Oh, I love Mick. He's gonna kill me. I just know it.
Okay, so Tim and I have been tricked by Three Geeks into doing a whatever they call it. Whatever
Remake
they were-
Revolution.
Yeah.
I just
So
like saying it in an announcer voice. Makes me feel cooler about it.
I'm already saying that we should just remake it with cats, and the spice is now catnip.
Mm.
The movie would make more sense.
And as much as I hate cats, I don't hate it as much as I hate Dune. So there's a possibility of me agreeing to that. So yeah, Three Geeks podcast, which is where Jason Taylor's from. They do a thing on there called Remake Revolution. They take movies, they mix it up, change actors, storylines, everything, something that they feel will make it better. And somehow we got suckered into agreeing to do a Remake Revolution with them for about the movie Dune.
They got us on a week. They got us on. We were weak.
There's meat there, like, and I totally understand people dunking on the original movie because it's warranted, but like the story and the universe and other stuff, it's a sci-fi epic that has otherwise been mostly avoided in this time of big effects. Like, I mean, you know, the John Carter of Mars series has got a lot of fans still, but like, and these are things that have mostly been ignored because we got superheroes and Star Wars and a little bit of Star Trek, and it's kind of soaking everything up. But the overarching story of Dune can be very interesting. The books can also be a slog. But I am personally optimistic about the new movie. I think it's going to be entertaining. Now, if you guys don't agree, that's fine. I'm not worried about your opinion anymore. I'm closing in on 40, and my opinion's enough for me. But
well, let us know how 40 is.
Kathleen, come on.
Now everyone's just getting, we're all just passively aggressively.
I love how we're all just like passing notes in class now. Just, maybe teacher won't notice. So, all right.
So
So,
I'll get on my phone so I can do it too.
all right. So let's have a quick vote here per se. Who do people feel the winner is? You can't vote for your own, Jeff.
I'll vote for Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Okay. I was going to vote for Master Allen's because that was my second pick.
I'm going Kathleen because that was my top 3, and I axed it because, in the same reason as Ron, like I figured everybody was going to want to dial in on that one, so I was trying to like cut a little deeper.
I know you got my back though. At least the one who's got my back is the one who's got the lightsabers, so I'm good.
All right, Nick, what's your pick?
What did you pick again, Jeff?
Batman '89, the greatest movie ever.
With Prince.
Also, solid choice.
It's no Watchmen or Flash.
It's no Sucker Punch.
It's not about
I commented on the Facebook post, by the way. It didn't show
He'll
up.
say
in this
one
feed.
of us.
It's hard to choose because the music in all of these is very.
I mean, nobody put out something that was bad. Like none of us were like, oh, get out of here with that. Like,
Nobody chose
What'd you
ET.
pick? I picked Driving Miss Daisy. So,
it is neither sci-fi nor superhero. You
Fried green tomatoes.
I'll probably go with Jeff because I think that that Batman, like from what I remember, it had a nice little
Batmanishness about it.
yeah.
why'd you like Batman? Because it had Batman.
Because it was Bat and Man. And
It was Batmanly.
That is a valid answer for liking a Batman property. Like that's,
I can't argue with it. I knocked it a little bit, but it's solid logic.
I think so.
And in fact, that's why I started liking the Tick, because they had Batman. Well, it was close enough. So,
it was Batman adjacent.
all right. So, just real quick here, because we're closing in on our time.
I vote for Tim, not that anybody asked.
Did we not ask you?
No!
yeah.
No!
I don't think you've asked Ron yet either.
Yeah. I was going to vote for Tim too. I had Jeff's Batman's a good choice, but honestly, when you brought up Queen, I'm like, oh crap, I didn't think of that. Queen's. How do you not vote for Queen?
How do you not?
Well, Highlander, right? Like the one that
And
Kathleen.
that was the thing, is I'm like, I should have gone Highlander, but then
Yeah.
Hashtag Roundup snuck in here. Oh my God, we're getting cool. And if you're not playing hashtag Roundup on Twitter, you need to be. It's a ton of fun. I host a game on my other podcast every Monday morning at 11 a.m. called Healing with Hashtags for funny, not for funny science fiction, but for Focused on Forward at Podcast FOF, by the way. All right. See, I took your gentle plug and made it my own. See what I did there? I'm learning, Jeff. I'm learning.
Well
All right.
done.
All right, so we're going to say goodbye to our guests here, but before we excuse them, we've already said goodbye to.
Farewell, Avita, and goodbye.
Jeff has already plugged his shows. So
yeah.
all right, Jeff. Hey, thanks so much. I'm gonna kick you out of here so you have time to go get ready for your next engagement.
Thank you
It was
all.
awesome to meet you.
See you,
Bye,
Jeff.
everyone.
See you, Jeff.
Bye.
Be good, Jeff. All right, so Jeff is out of here. Ron, I know we've mentioned it before, but just give us a quick heads up again on Crossing the Streams. Where can people find it and what time again?
Yeah, it's on all the platforms Wednesday evenings, 9:30 Eastern time. It runs for an hour. It's a great, fun show, and actually, I've learned a lot from the other folks who chime in, yourself included, Tim. So super appreciate you stopping in and appreciate all of your input. So come and see us.
I've had a blast on that show. It's a ton of fun, and I too have picked up a couple shows that I have made it to my need to watch list because of Crossing the Streams. And now Jason's just kissing rear end. Something
Come
awful.
on, Jason. Come on.
Jason trying to get you on his pod.
My man.
What's going on?
Specifically waited for Jeff to leave, and he's like, "Nope, Ron's a star."
No shame, Jason.
Love you, Jason. That's awesome.
Well,
All right.
I super appreciate you guys inviting me today, and you guys have a great show. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I've enjoyed having you here. You've been a ton of fun. We'll have to have you back.
I appreciate that. I would look forward to it.
All right, Ron. Take care,
All right,
buddy.
guys. Take care.
All right. And Master Allen, you are not only here tonight, but I believe we have you on deck for next week as well.
A week from today. That is right.
That's right. We'll also have John, and I cannot pronounce his last name to save my soul, but John Guisto, or something along those lines. Sorry, John, if you're listening or you hear this, and I just slaughtered your last name because I know I did, but he's also a member of the Three Geeks podcast, and he also does another podcast called the PVD Cast. So, and Matt, and another one called Matt Talk, the only Matlock podcast that I know of. John Orlando.
There's a Matlock podcast?
Yeah, it's called Matt Talk. Jason Taylor.
Cool. Okay. All right. I'm in.
Yeah. Jason Taylor and says, told me I could call him John Orlando, and he's right. John Orlando is his stage name. You did not hear the other name. If I had my flashy thingy, I'd erase
You
your
pronounce
memories.
it right anyway, so we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, so not getting it right.
You didn't
anyway.
dox him.
At what point in podcasting do we get to have stage names? Should we have done that already?
You could change it now if you wanted to. You just put Kathleen up on the screen, so that's all that matters.
Well, I mean that's all it is now. But
It happened to me by accident. I don't know.
But yeah, and so Jason says we'd love to have you as a guest. Talk about Matlock with him. Jason's really cool. You'd have a ton of fun with him, Alan, if you like Matlock.
So my mother, like it's sort of the Agatha Christie like model. There were a whole bunch of TV shows that were sort of like that, where there was this central mystery solving theater, character. And there would be a murder, and then by the end of the episode, it's unraveled. So like Murder, She Wrote, Matlock. Like there were so many of them. It wasn't necessarily always murder, but obviously in Ellery Quinn, et cetera, et cetera. And so like I grew up with these things sort of in the background, and Hercule Poirot, and that kind of stuff. So it's like hearing that Matlock has a podcast is just like, it's just so cool, because like for me there's just a nostalgia piece to that. That's really fun.
Absolutely.
like that.
All right, we have 1 minute left, so just real quick. So upcoming on Friday, look out for the interview release of with David Sovolov. His episode will be out this Friday, and you guys can check out our interview with the voice of Gorilla Grodd and Drax the Destroyer. That's for this Friday. Again, next Monday, you'll see Master Allen. You'll see John Orlando from the PVD Cast and Three Geeks and Matt Talk. And then you'll also see our good buddy, Kathleen knows him as well, Aaron Elia, who hosts a show called Catching Up with Aaron. And he also does the 31-day music challenge on Facebook. And that's how we know him.
And
Awesome.
10 seconds.
And we have 10 seconds for us to say goodbye. So, bye, everybody. On behalf of the rest of the hosts of Funny Science Fiction, we'd like to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on one of our future episodes, please contact us by means of our Facebook group, Funny Science Fiction. You can find us on Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FunnySciFi, or you can go to DraytonAllen.com and click the Contact Me link at the bottom of the page. Thanks again. Hope you enjoyed the episode.